awesome, absolutely awesome.
I love it when a plan comes together. Definitely worth a look. Yeah, it was well under par.
Hello everybody, how are we all doing? I hope you're having a good Sunday so far. Of course you are. I mean, it's Man of Steel weekend, isn't it? So we're all having an awesome weekend. I am going to see the film again 2 more times later on today, so that'll be 7 in total, and then the 8th time will be on Tuesday. So I'm pretty much prepared. I'm addicted and I'm obsessed. What can I say? Already seen it 5 times, and each time I've watched it, it just gets more and more interesting. It is so much better watching it over and over again. So this time I want to just elaborate a bit more on some things, specifically Krypton. I loved how Krypton looked. I really loved the opening sequence. There was no huge intro theme like there was with Superman the movie, so it was just straight into it, which is great. You know, I just get straight into it. No messing about, no long introduction or anything. Just boom, straight right into it, and just seeing this world of another planet. As I mentioned in my first review, you know, it is very ancient, but at the same time, you know, it's organic. They've got these, you know, interesting looking creatures, dragons in some sense, like huge dragonflies as in some sense, but at the same time also very technologically advanced as well. I think two of the House of Elves, like robots. One of them's called Kal-El, another one's called Kal-El, I believe. You know, that shows how technologically advanced the world is of Krypton, and it just looks alive. You know, and you can tell it's actually a planet. It's vast, basically. I mean, I remember when I watched Thor for the first time when that came out 2 years ago, and I remember saying that, looking at Asgard, if Krypton was, you know, as vast as that, I'll be happy. Didn't have to look as majestic, you know, and all gold and everything, but if it's as vast as Asgard or even bigger, I'm happy. And it delivered, as far as I'm concerned. It really did deliver. And on top of that, Russell Crowe as Jor-El. I mean, he had epic screen time as far as I was concerned. He really nailed Jor-El, and it's definitely the Jor-El that I've come to, you know, been accustomed with in the comics. You know, he is all about saving his race. He is worried that, you know, what they've done to the planet is a bad thing, because you know, in the comics there has been the storyline where the planet has imploded. You know, it's through the civilians, the inhabitants of Krypton's own fault that the planet has been destroyed, and that's what Jor-El is trying to let the council know here, is that, you know, he told them that they should not have used the planet's core, and it's now going to cause an implosion on the planet. You know, he even discusses how centuries before, or hundreds of thousands of years before, how their ancestors were searching other parts of the universe for worlds for them to inhabit. You know, can they not do that again? Yeah. You know, later on in the film, when he's talking to Kal-El and he's telling him about, you know, the past, and how obviously everyone on Krypton was artificially grown. There was no natural births for 100,000 years. And, you know, Kal-El was the first baby in centuries to have been born naturally, which therefore gives him the you know, free will as such, gives him the choice to do whatever he wants with his life. But Jor-El and Lara felt that, you know, they didn't want him to remain on Krypton. They didn't want that hope to die on Krypton. It was a case of, we need him to survive elsewhere. You know, we've got to send him away somewhere. So again, they followed on from what their ancestors did, journey into another part of the universe to live on, to you know, have a life and choose something worthwhile to do with their life. So when Jor-El eventually, you know, he asked for Lara and Kal-El to find a planet that would be habitable for Kal-El to live on, and when he saw that it was a young yellow star, the sun was so younger than Krypton's, that he realised that Kal-El was actually his body would take in the sun's radiation. And you know how scientific Jor-El is. He is very, very intelligent, and he knows that by giving his son that chance to live on another planet, that he wouldn't have to experience the trials and the, you know, all the bad things that went on in Krypton through Zod. And Zod, you know, he is a patriot. As I've said before, he is a patriot. He cares so much about his people, and it's in his code to, you know, ensure the survival of Krypton, and that's what he was doing when he was taking down the council. Whilst Jor-El was saying, look, you know, if you succeed in taking down the council, who are you going to lead? You're going to lead nobody. There's going to be no one for you to lead. And even Zod was like, well, come on, you join me. If you join me in this cause, then we can make this world a better place. We can go to another planet and habit it, you know, and find all the other outposts, which is what Zod did eventually after Krypton got destroyed. You know, who knows how many other Kryptonians are out there in the universe. You know, there's still the question about Kara, because remember the ship that Clark found on Earth, it's the same ship that Kara was on, but it begs the question is, if that ship has been there for almost 20,000 years, where the hell has Kara been all this time? So, if you've read the tie-in comic, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. You know, that begs that question. But again, as I say, I think the way that they did Krypton was absolutely amazing. Smallville, it got trashed. It got epically destroyed. It was unbelievable. But then again, even in the comics, the same thing happens. I've been reading lots and lots of comments from people saying, oh, Superman had no regard for all the humans in Smallville or in Metropolis, you know, destroying this, that and the other. The buildings were destroyed heavily. But look at it in this sense, right? We now live in a world where we all fear for our lives through one form or another. You know, there's terrorism going around, I mean, look at the situation that's happening in Turkey, for example, Syria as well. There are lives at stake. And it's not that people aren't aware that people are getting injured or are being killed. It's just, how can you prevent something on a much larger scale? You know, it's not a case that Superman wasn't aware of his surroundings, but when you're taking on a huge force like Zod and his army, you're not gonna... I'm not saying that Superman should have, like, stopped for a second and say to Zod, right, hang on, before we have a fight, can we just make sure these civilians are safe? Or, let's take it elsewhere kind of thing. Yes, in some sense he could have done that. He could have said, right, we're taking this elsewhere. But would Zod have had that same mindset? Because look at what Fiora said to Kal-El. He said, look, you will not win. For every human you save, we'll kill 1 million more. So they didn't care if he saved one person, 2, 10, however many. They were still going to kill many, many more people, because they just didn't care. They had no regard for human life whatsoever. So when people say, oh, you know, Superman just didn't care for the destruction of Metropolis, well, it's not that he didn't care. He was focused on getting rid of the war engine on the southern side of the planet, for starters, because if he didn't get rid of that, the army couldn't reach it. No one else was going to go to it. He was the only one capable of doing it. If he didn't get rid of that, the military would not have been able to do what they needed to do in Metropolis. By then, tons and tons of humans had already been perished. Okay, human life had already been taken. The same thing happens in the comics. You know, before, like in Earth 1, for example, and this is where most of the film is borrowed from as well as Birthright, All-Star, Superman, Brainiac, Secret Origin. You know, there's tons of stories that it lends from, but Earth 1 and Birthright are the two main big ones in there. And in Earth 1, it even shows you that before Clark puts on the suit, he has a flashback to when he was talking to Jonathan. And this is why the film works so well with these flashbacks, because even in Earth 1, he's in present day, but they show you the flashbacks as well, from when he was a kid, unsure of where he's from, who he is, his powers, all that sort of stuff, right? When you look at Earth 1, and then you look at this film, you see the similarities. As I say, there's that moment of where he's standing on top of a building. He can see the destruction that is being caused. And he thinks for a while. He stands there and thinks, am I ready to do this? Am I ready to go down there and save these people? Is this my true purpose? Is this what I'm here for? and you know, he puts on a suit, and then he goes for it. And it's not a case that he didn't care for the humans. He just wasn't sure how he was going to face the threat. You know, yes. What was the name of the character in Earth 1? Was it Tyrell or something like that? Basically said to Earth, you know, if this individual does not show himself to me, then I'm going to kill people. And the same thing happens, you know, in Man of Steel. Zod delivers a similar message. You know, Kal-El, if you do not reveal yourself in the next 24 hours, this world will suffer. You know, you'll have to watch the world suffer the consequences. And it wasn't a case that he didn't want to surrender himself. You know, he even tells Lois he was surrendering himself to mankind, not to Zod. This was Superman basically saying to the humans, I am not here to cause a threat to you guys. I am not your threat. I am not the bad guy. I am not the enemy. I'm here to surrender myself to you as an act of trust, you know. And even while he was talking to General Swanwick, and it breaks the curve straight away. Let's put our cards on the table here. You know, they're scared because they can't control him. That's the message that he's giving. And that's the other message that this movie is giving, is that in a real world situation, we can't control someone as powerful as that. But can we trust that person, or can that person trust us as well? And it's throughout the movie, he has, you know, he knows that Zod can't be trusted, but he's also not sure if the human race can be trusted as well. And it all goes back again. He has a flashback from when he was a kid getting bullied by Whitney Fordham. You know, his dad protecting him from doing anything to expose himself. He didn't want his dad to expose his secret. You know, not to compare, but we know in Smallville, in a TV series, Jonathan was fine with Clark saving lives, but as long as he was careful. Here, totally different. Here I actually understand better that it's so much understandable from Jonathan's side of view as a parent and as a protector of a teenager who has superpowers beyond everybody's imagination. He doesn't want his child to be exposed in that manner because anyone could come along and take him away and do whatever the hell they want with him. Okay, it's that sort of message sending out to say there is someone out there who is watching over us. We don't know what he looks like, who he is. When he's ready, he will show himself to the world. And all throughout the film, you get that sense that he is alone. He is essentially alone. You know, Jonathan and Martha are looking after him and caring for him and protecting him. They're doing their best they can for him. He then goes looking for himself. After Jonathan passes, you know, gets killed by the tornado, that's when he decides, you know, I've got to find out who I am, where I'm from. After Jonathan showed him the ship and everything, he started to realise, oh my God, there really is something different about me, you know. And he did not want to be an alien. He wanted to be Jonathan Kent's son. But then later on in his later years, when he was about 18, 19 years old, before the tornado happened, there he is telling Jonathan, you're not my dad, you're just some guy who found me on a field. And that really hurt Jonathan, and it hurt Martha as well. And after the incident with the tornado, that's when Clark thought, okay, you know, he kind of felt like they parted on bad terms, and it hurt him inside. And that's where, as you say at the end, as you saw at the end there with what happened with Zod, you know, it pretty much all came out at that point. So there is so much going on. And you know, like I say, even with Lois, finding out who Clark really is, and at the end of the film where she says, welcome to the planet, you know, welcoming Superman or the alien, Kal-El, to the world, not just welcoming Clark to work at the Daily Planet, it really does give you that sense of morality that Lois isn't going to tell anybody who Clark really is. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays in the sequel as well. Whereas in the likes of Earth 1 and other comic books, you know, Lois doesn't know that Clark and Superman are the same person. This is all about, like, Earth 1 in particular, New 52 as well, even in Superman Brainiac and In All Star Superman, she obviously eventually, he does tell her that he is really Superman. So again, that's where that's where All Star Superman comes in, is that Lois knows Clark is Superman. Through her own investigation, not through him revealing himself to her as such. It was through her own investigation, because she wanted to know who he was. Who is this person? Why is he doing all this incredible stuff? And why is he saving people's lives? So all her journalistic integrity and her investigative reporting, it works out for her. I know people are saying, oh well, if Lois could find out who he is, can't the military do the same thing? Well, yes and no. The military are trying to find out where he hangs his cape. He may have told General Swanwick, I grew up in Kansas. But that's just, he grew up in Kansas. Doesn't mean he lives there. We don't know where he's living. No fortress has been built, which is good, because that just tells you that at the moment he hasn't yet established a permanent residence as Superman. They don't call him Superman to his face, which means, as far as he's concerned, he is just a super-powered alien flying around saving people's lives. They haven't given him a name to his face. The name Superman hasn't yet been synonymous with Kal-El as such. So who knows what's going to happen in the sequel? As I've already said, I still think it could set up well with Lex Luthor being introduced in the sequel, looking at the destruction of Metropolis, the killing of Zod, the Genesis chamber and the ship that Zod was in that crashed in Metropolis, all the Kryptonian DNA inside Clark's body as well. There's so much that can be set up. Lex can use all of that to his advantage. LexCorp is already established. We know that LexCorp is there. It's in the world. It's in Metropolis. Lex is there. It's going to be a case of how can he make Superman look bad in front of the general public. He will make Superman public enemy #1. And then, way I see it, if that occurs, the sequel could then set up a Superman-Batman movie, where Batman, Bruce Wayne will then come, because remember this, you saw the Wayne Enterprises satellite getting destroyed, right? Bruce is not going to be happy about that, for one thing. But that could set up a Superman-Batman storyline, in some sense, in that Bruce will see that there is a superpowered being out there who is doing good for humanity. Bruce might already have been not established as Batman by then, but maybe by the time Superman-Batman gets made, even during a sequel, who knows, we may see more of a hint of Bruce Wayne in the background or something, and then work into Superman-Batman, and then the Justice League. That's it planned out right there for you, Warners. There you go, it's planned, it's sorted. I know the sequel's pretty much been greenlit, it's on its way, get it sorted. I'd say by about 2016, that's when the sequel should come out. Then maybe 2 years later, then do the Superman, Batman, and then Justice League sometime after that. Now, way I see it, if you can do Superman, Batman, and Justice League back to back, you're on a roll. You're sorted. You're on a roll. Then you can do like a yearly sort of release between those two movies. It could work. It can be done. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit has already proved it. So why not? And even Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy has also proved it with 2 and 3 in particular. So do it. Go for it. Harry Potter did a similar thing with Part 7. 2 parts and did it back to back. It can be done. Warner just need to get themselves sorted. I know that they're fast tracking the sequel. So if they're fast tracking the sequel, it's going to be a case of try and get everybody back for the cast. The sequel's already been written. Let's have a look. I mean, you're probably looking at, if they start shooting in January, for example, of 2014, then it can be ready for summer of 2016. It can be ready in time for then. But yeah, I think it's possible. It's doable. It can be done. They just need to get everything right. As far as I'm concerned, Man of Steel was right. It was done the way that I expected so much from it, and it delivered. Even more than I expected. So I know that so many people are like, it doesn't follow on from what Donna did. It's not supposed to follow what was done previously. It isn't supposed to do that. The only thing it's borrowed from are the comics, the true source of the character. That is where it's borrowed from. Lois is not depicted as a damsel in distress. Yes, she does get saved a couple of times, but she's not the whole, oh, help me, save me, Superman kind of thing. No, it's not that. She is hardcore. She has got gumption about her. She goes into action. She's not afraid to put herself into risk, which we know about Lois. but she's not like, oh please, I'm in danger, help me Superman kind of thing. No, you know, Superman will see her in danger and he saves her. You know, that's what he does, and it's what makes it all the more interesting. And, you know, that's why I love it so much. So yeah, again, it's amazing. But I'm gonna stop there again. You know, I know so many people have said how awesome that that it is for them, that they really enjoy it, that they actually felt it is in many ways a comic book movie, a Superman comic book movie. You know, you could pretty much take every scene out of the film and put it into a comic book, and you can just read it. I mean, I even read Superman Unchained yesterday for the first time, and I was immensely blown away with how that was done. Scott Snyder and Jim Lee have collaborated on this particular story, and reading that, the first opening couple of pages instantly reminded me of Man of Steel, where you've got Superman flying into a falling like nuclear sort of satellite of some sort, and he breaks it into pieces. And it's like watching, you know, you look at that and you think, how would it look on the big screen? And we've already seen it in Man of Steel. You know, reading the comics, you use your imagination. You read what you're seeing, but then you think, well, what if this happened? What if that happened? What if he did this? What if he did that? And that's what's happened on Man of Steel. They've taken what's been done in the comics, reshaped it in certain ways, rewritten this, redone this, changed this mythology, changed that bit of the mythology. Boom, there it is. What's everybody's problem? Why are people so bothered that A, it was too noisy, B, the relationship between Clark and Lois wasn't as romantic as it should have been? No, it's supposed to develop. It's going to be developed. It's starting out. It is Superman Begins, literally. Okay, that's why he's not called Superman to his face. He doesn't start at the Daily Planet until the very end of the film. What do you guys want? You want him to have already been established and everything? No, that's the reason for it being an origin film. He hasn't yet been established. He hasn't yet cemented himself as a superhero. He hasn't yet shown the world who he is, which is why we saw all of that in the film, in this first film. And then in the sequel, who knows how many years will have passed? Maybe 2 years, 3 years, it could even be 5 years may have passed. You know, things could have happened in that time period. We'll probably will get more flashbacks, not just flashbacks during those past few years, the flashbacks to when he was younger again. There's still a lot more to be told. So people stop harkering about, it didn't do this, it didn't do that. Seriously, you said the same thing about Batman Begins. Then you saw The Dark Knight and you were really happy with that, but some of you weren't happy about it. Then obviously The Dark Knight Rises, and I know it didn't please a lot of people, but that's comic book movies overall. There is going to be things that people won't like, and there's going to be things that people loved immensely. Get over it, and just go with it, okay? If you don't like it, fine. Talk about what you didn't like about it, that's okay. But don't bash other people for saying, oh, well, you only like it because you're a fanboy or this, that, and the other. No, no, no. It's not just that I'm a fanboy. It's just that this is the first Superman movie that I've actually been able to see at the cinema. First time, brand new. I'm 33 years old. I'm not 10. You know, I wish I could be a 10-year-old kid and go see this for the first time. Then I would be like, oh my God, wow, that was amazing. Because I'm like that now. I feel like a 10-year-old kid, you know, and there's many other people in my position who are exactly the same. You know, some people have seen Superman the movie when they were young. And I've read comments from people who have seen Superman the movie when they were young, who have now seen Man of Steel and said, you know, it was like they went back to the cinema from when they were as a kid, but for this one, it was a whole new experience. And that's how it should be, a whole new experience. Don't compare it to what's been done before, because that's not the point. That's not what we're doing here. We are not comparing to what's been done before. It's as if nothing else existed before it. Okay? Just take it as it is. Just look at it as what you're seeing. It is an awesome spectacle. Granted, there are some things that are controversial about it. There are some things that we won't agree about it. Look past that and enjoy it. Enjoy the awesomeness. Enjoy the spectacle. Enjoy the fight scenes. Enjoy what Henry Cavill has done, what Amy Adams has done, what Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer have all given us. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to stop there. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but again, well done if you've been sticking out for this long. I know I do talk a lot, and I know I've been getting loads and loads of good comments from people who have watched the last 2 reviews that I've done, and you know, it's amazing to see how many other people feel the same way as I do about this film, and it's what we've waited for as Superman fans. It's that simple. I can't stress enough how much I've enjoyed it. So to Zach, to Chris, and to David, Thank you all very much to Henry, Amy, Michael, Lawrence, Russell, Ayelet, Anshay, Diane, Kevin. You guys were absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much for this movie, because, oh dear, I'm so glad we finally got it. Really, I'm so glad. So there you go. Not sure if I'm going to talk any more about the movie again, because I think I've exhausted it enough now. But as I say, I'm going to see it 2 more times later on today, again on Tuesday. Bring on the Blu-ray already. I want the Blu-ray in my hand already. I want it in my hand, and I want to be watching it at home now. So yeah. But anyway, as I say, thank you all very much. See you all later. Bye.